So let's talk about that gold helmet up there with that buffalo on it.
Can you believe that we have made it? What is it? 25 minutes into this podcast and not talking about Colorado? Is the hype dead?
I think that this is the interesting question because Colorado did not go deep into the transfer portal this year compared to a lot of other teams, even in their own league, but across the country. Colorado is one of the more stable rosters. It just so happens they lost the Heisman Trophy winner, their record-setting quarterback. Now, they did bring in a quarterback who's a 3-year starter. We've not even mentioned Coach Prime yet. We've actually we mentioned Kaden Salter before we mentioned Coach Prime, but I felt like Deion Sanders did a good job last year at creating a program more than just churning the hype machine.
You're buying that. That's I'm not doubting you, but like you're all in on that.
I don't think they're going to suddenly be 2-9. I don't.
Right. Do you think they're going to be 6-6?
That I don't know. But okay. You can ask that question about every helmet up there.
Yeah.
Like, because there are teams up there that we think are going to compete for this conference title who are going to be 6-6.
Yeah.
And there are teams that we think might be 6-6 that might be in the hunt for the conference title.
So here's the thing that I was most impressive about Colorado last year. There were a lot of people who don't like Deion who said that Colorado was going to go as far as Shedeur and Travis took them.
Right.
But if you actually watched the sicko Colorado games, not just the ones that were on national TV, the sicko ones that we watched.
Yeah.
I came away from last season very impressed with Coach Prime.
Better on both lines of scrimmage as the season went on. Like they couldn't.
They were well coached.
Yeah, they couldn't block when they played Nebraska early in the season. But if you watch them at the end of the season, they were blocking well. They
were playing fast assignment oriented
off the edge. Yeah,
no stupid mistakes.
And it's funny because we thought Deion Hayes was going to make this huge difference off the edge. He ends up redshirting and transferring.
Yeah,
like the other guys were the ones that wound up playing well.
But my point is that I thought they were a very functional, and like I was very nervous too at the beginning with the Sean Lewis stuff. I thought that was going to turn. I thought the whole thing was going to be a complete circus, and I thought Deion Sanders really found himself and his staff as the year went on, and they weren't just in games because Travis Hunter. I mean, I think people forget Travis Hunter missed like 4 games last year, and they were winning games without him, didn't he?
He only missed 1 full game.
He did?
Yeah, he went out against Kansas State, and that was probably why they lost.
They lost that game, and then I thought he missed 2 more.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I'm off.
But
so the point remains, I don't think that they were only good because of those 2 players. That said, when you have those 2 players, which you could say are arguably 2 of the best players in the entire conference, when's the last time before Deion Sanders was there where Colorado, they actually they're taking out the national championship trophy here. I don't know who that's for.
There it is. It's for us.
Yeah.
We're the champions.
14-year-old.
Back to Kaden Salter, because 2 years ago we saw Kaden Salter lead Liberty to an undefeated season and a Fiesta Bowl. Now, Liberty's schedule, we know, is not the best, but Liberty's players also are not of the caliber that he's going to be playing with at Colorado. Now, he had C.J. Daniels, who was at LSU and is now at Miami.
Could you say that Liberty's players, commensurate with their competition, were much better than what he has at Colorado?
Yes, Liberty's players compared to Conference USA, that's the best roster in the league.
So he's not playing with the best roster in the league. Now, his roster's elevated, but so are all of the opponents. So I wonder if there's even a difference there.
It's going to be fascinating to see. And he's played a lot, because this is what we talk about with guys in the portal. Sometimes just having played a lot of college football games for a quarterback is a massive advantage.
I mean, that's the one thing that they say is an underrated metric in the draft. How many snaps as a starter did you take during your career also has a pretty
like Bo Nix, when he becomes the Denver Broncos starter. Yeah. Well, he's been Auburn and Oregon starter for 5
He's already played
years.
1,000 snaps as a starting quarterback. That helps you. So here's the thing, too, about Colorado that we don't talk about. We talk so much about Bryce Underwood at Michigan.
Yeah.
And maybe that's because he has a clear path.
Because he's going to start.
Field.
Yeah.
But we talked a lot about Bryce Underwood before it was clear he was going to start.
Yeah. We talked a lot about Juju Lewis before he picked Colorado and when he picked Colorado.
Is Juju Lewis going to play this year?
Well, I think you have to, when you have a quarterback who runs around a lot, because I think Kaden Salter is going to start. But you got to have that next guy ready, and that's going to be Juju Lewis.
Or if but we always play that do you have a package for him? Do you do this or do you do
No,
that?
I think you just have him ready because there may be a moment where he just has to become your starter.
Because the whole thing too that was so interesting was that it's like Deion's going to go get a 5-star quarterback out of, and Lewis finishes a 4, I think, right?
Yeah, he did.
Unrivaled.
But still a very highly rated quarterback.
But everybody thought, well, Shador's leaving. They got to go get a 5-star freshman to come in and take over right away. And it's like, that's not what they did. And I thought that was the sign of a functional program.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Colorado has lost all of its hype. And I wonder if Deion can work magic in a way where they're out of the spotlight a little bit.
Yeah.
And then surprise people.
Yeah, this is the real job now. Like the Louis luggage is gone. This is
a job that we were uncertain he was going to be around to do
right
at the beginning.
And this is where it gets hard. But here's the other part of it. And Colorado fans are going to hate this if I say this. If he wins now, he's going to get snapped up by somebody else. I'm telling you. Because this will be proof that what he does works.
I've never understood the Deion Sanders to the NFL stuff.
No.
I've never understood that. But if he can win now functionally at Colorado, then I can start buying. Because I didn't even think that he was qualified for any SEC job when he took the Colorado job. But being a 3-year head coach, somebody who got Colorado, I'm going to say it again, Colorado to the brink of the playoff.
Now, if I were him, I don't know that I'd leave Colorado if I get this thing going because
why would you?
Because I think they can make that roster the best in the league. Now, we talked about Texas Tech and what they're doing. They obviously have a plan and a desire to have the best roster in the league year after year. We can talk about BYU and what they're doing. They just got Ryder Lions. They are clearly going to make a big effort to have one of the better rosters in the league. Colorado can do that. Like, they have Jordan Seaton starting at left tackle, one of the best offensive tackle prospects in the class of 2024. He stepped in immediately, started right away. Looked like he was pretty good right away.
Don't go on the rant.
With the Jordan Seaton rant?
No,
you want to
talent accumulation rant.
Don't even worry about that.
No, I do think that they will be solid. And I'm very curious to see what Deion's going to do to get us back into the hype train, because he's going to say something. He's going to do something.
Yeah.
But the thing that is interesting about him leaving, the notion of him leaving, is that like the superpower that Deion Sanders has is his ability to make something that wasn't cool.
Mm-hmm.
Colorado is cool. And I wonder if there's a sweat equity of being there for 3 years and turning the image of Colorado around that you don't want to start over again.
And they've also, especially because he's worked there a while, he's got it the way he wants it, and they're willing to let him do it the way he wants it. Some of these other, like these SEC and Big Ten schools, there's a lot of, well, we've done this way for 100 years, and that's how we're going to do it. Like Colorado said, hey, we're 1-11. You come in and fix this. You do what you got to do. I do think there should be some appreciation there. And like, I don't know. And maybe this is me being at a job now. And I've done this a couple times in my career. And I've probably gone on this rant before where I like the startup phase. Like I enjoyed being at the Athletic when it was very young company where,
me too,
kind of flying by the seat of its pants. By the end, it gets bought by the New York Times. You're getting more middle management in. That's was very similar to what Sports Illustrated was like. And like the company we're at now, young, new, flying by the seat of our pants kind of thing. Like I love that part. And also we helped build it. So the way we want to do things, we don't have somebody coming in and telling us you need to do this way.
Yeah. We have a lot of freedom here.
Yeah.
And I do love when you take our personal life and experiences and
project it onto millionaire coaches who don't think about any of these things at all.
No, I know.
But I would think this is something that I would think about a lot as a coach. And with Deion especially, like Colorado will let him do the job however he wants to do it, as long as he is doing it effectively. And I think that's something you should appreciate.
And the thing that's scary about Colorado, if you're a Colorado fan, and I don't want to keep you up at night, guys, but the second he walks out that door, I think the coolness evaporates. Like, do you think that like Deion Sanders can build something that has staying power there that without him, or does it only work with him?
I think you have to, it's a very hard needle to thread whenever that is, whether it's 2 years from now or 20 years from now.
Because like I don't know if I'm just imagining this, but their uniforms got cooler.
Their uniforms were pretty cool before.
No, I know, but like they look better in their uniforms now. Their attire on the sideline is better.
He is one of those people, and there there's not that many of those people walking the earth who have that much aura, who by the very virtue
you and
of
Deion are the only two I've ever seen.
yeah. But by the very virtue of their presence, everything changes. The whole outlook changes. The way people view you changes, and that's hard to do.
And I think that so much of the battle in college football, Andy, is just being cool. It really is. I mean, it sounds
true.
Stupid, but
no, it's not stupid because it's interesting because we were talking to Kenny Dillingham earlier this morning, and I was thinking about this, because realizing he's younger than you.
Yeah.
So he's 35
Which made
years
me feel old. Yeah.
But the thing is, he can connect with these players better than people our age can, or people maybe Kyle Whittingham's age can. But he's still a geezer to them.
And he also looks very young too.
Yeah. But he also is trying to make sure that he stays, attached to that age group.
While also bringing them back.
Yeah.
Because the thing that I've discovered in fatherhood, Andy, and I know you know this, is how much different pop culture and understanding and coolness changes from a 10-year period.
Yeah.
So like being 15, 20 years older than your players, you're still young when it comes to your peers, but you're still ancient in comparison to the people on your team.
Yeah.
And you know what's cool. Because I'm 38 and I know what's cool still. I know what kids think is cool.
But the thing about Deion that makes him different from every other coach in America is he's instantly cool. No matter what, he's cool.
He doesn't
have to try.
He doesn't know what's cool. He himself
makes it
things
cool. Yeah.
And
exactly.
that's the superpower.
Yeah.
So like the cowboy hat thing.
Right.
Could you imagine any other coach?
Brendan Marion's doing it now.
Yeah. Does it work?
We'll see. We'll have to watch some Sacramento State games and find out. But
no, Brendan Marion's actually really, really
he's
cool.
got his own style, but he's he's trying to do it his own way. And that's I appreciate that. I think
and they also got a commitment from a pretty high end 4-star prospect over the weekend. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
It's the highest recruit in the history of the program.
Well, but
that's like what, 10 years?
But we're seeing that. I mean, look, with Felix Ojo going to Texas Tech, we're seeing the idea that different schools are going to attract these kinds of players.
Sac State's trying to make some moves into the FBS.
Oh, I'm sure they're calling Brett Yormark because they tried to get into Pac-12 and didn't. I'm sure they'd kill to get into the Big 12 too. So.